They are newlyweds like none other. Just 6 months after wedding vows with the justice of the peace, Dahlia had to face a different kind of justice.
Pure evil.
The result? 20 years in prison for solicitation to commit murder. That seemed to be the end of this sordid story. Her husband Mike even had some pity for the woman convicted of plotting his death.
For a second, I felt a little bad for her. I mean, it's no fun. Nobody wants to go to jail. I know that for sure.
But then, Dahlia's Hail Mary prayer for an appeal was answered.
In the last hours, the Black Widow, Dahlia Dipollito, set to walk free.
A Florida judge ruled the jury wasn't selected properly and ordered a new trial.
The appeals court tosses out the conviction.
Were you surprised?
It's the first piece of good news throughout the whole process that I received.
So now Dahlia is anxiously awaiting a new trial. She is out of prison and under house arrest at her mother's home. Finally, ready to talk to 2020 about the charges against her.
Did you want your husband dead?
No, absolutely not.
Did you hire a hitman to kill your husband?
No.
Because it is a pre-trial interview, her newly hired high-profile lawyers, Mark Eiglarsh and Brian Claypool, wouldn't let her talk about certain parts of the case, in particular, those seemingly damning videotapes.
Wipe my hands off this pictures.
How do you explain what we have all seen and heard on those videotapes?
I'd like to be able to explain that to you right now, but I can't because the attorneys legally have told me that we're saving that for our day in court.
How damaging are these tapes to your client?
They are damaging because people have formed opinions.
Her lawyers have an explanation for those tapes.
Our job in the second trial is to provide the proper context for the jury to see that this is not really what it looks like.
He says you can't understand the tapes without understanding everything that came before. Here's a plot twist no one saw coming. He says it goes back to, of all things, another television show. The TV show Burn Notice, USA's long-running crime drama. On this episode, the plot is about hiring a hitman.
I want to pay you a lot of money to kill a lady.
And guess who had been an extra on the show?
You appeared in the television show Burn Notice, is that correct?
Yes.
Mohammed Shahadi, Dahlia's one-time lover, part-time actor, and the confidential informant for the Boynton Beach police. The lawyers say Mohammed, Dahlia, and Michael wanted to mimic the episode in their own fake hitman video.
They wanted to submit that, post it on YouTube, to try to get acting parts. That was the plan.
So the goal here was to be famous?
I'm not here to tell you that what these three folks did was smart.
No, not so smart. But whatever it was, Claypool says Mohammed figured it would be even better if it was recorded on real undercover cameras planted by real cops.
Sure everything else is okay?
Yo, what more sugar can you want? You're planning a murder. Come on, stop.
Mohammed is an actor in this video.
You know, nobody's going to be able to point a finger at me.
More acting?
Right, exactly. That's all part of it.
And believe it or not, he says they're not just acting, they've become real-life victims.
Dahlia is a victim.
Oh, I believe that. Absolutely.
Claypool claims the real wrongdoers in this story are the detectives themselves. How?
This special edition of Cops is filmed on location with the men and women.
Remember the TV show Cops? They'd been planning to film with the Boynton Beach police for months. When Mohammed walked in with the story about a hitman, Claypool claims detectives thought they had struck gold.
What the police department did is they found out she's an attractive woman. In their minds, they're like, ching, ching, ching. This is a perfect skit to get on tape.
Got the video?
She just got in the car.
And you know, he gets 2 in the head.
I get in and out, catch 2 in the head, okay?
This is where the explanation gets tricky. Claypool claims Mohammed realized his plans that sounded so good for a fake YouTube video were spinning out of control in real life. He wanted out, but detectives threatened him to make him continue as a confidential informant.
He wanted zero part of that. Detective Marino was calling him 10 times a day. Dude, you gotta do it, you gotta do it, you gotta call her.
Mohammed acknowledges he felt pressured by police in this deposition.
Why did you believe that you could get prosecuted for this if you didn't continue to work with them?
Because they told me I could.
Okay.
Why would the police put pressure on Mohammed? Claypool says they wanted to make sure nothing stopped the cops' TV show from going forward. And under all that pressure, Claypool says Mohammed freaked out when Dahlia told him she didn't want to meet with the supposed hitman.
Dahlia starts backing out. She didn't want to have any part of this anymore.
Claypool claims she only kept up the act because Mohammed threatened her with a gun.
He threatened to hurt me and to hurt my family.
Did you believe he would?
Absolutely, yes.
So she was threatened to act out a hoax on a videotape? I mean, do you understand how ridiculous that sounds to a lot of people watching this?
Yeah, that's not ridiculous. You've got a 6'2", 230-pound man with a gun.
Saying you will do this
Absolutely.
YouTube hoax or else?
Right.
All right, so that's how I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Robbery went bad.
All that leading to the famous 5,000% sure moment.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
5,000% sure, not 100% sure, not 1,000% sure, but 5,000% sure. How do you explain that?
I look at that video and I see somebody who's struggling with whether she's really sure.
She's struggling? What?
Why? Well,
how is she struggling if she's 5,000% sure?
Well, you might find that humorous, but when I hear people say they're sure, I'm 110% sure. She's trying to overcompensate.
Whether she's 10, 100, or 5,000% sure, Dahlia's lawyers believe the whole case against Dahlia doesn't add up to anything, that she was framed by the police.
So are you saying that Dahlia was enticed, entrapped into soliciting a murder for hire?
There's no question about it that the Boynton Beach Police Department was dead set on manufacturing a crime here.
They've filed a motion to dismiss the case, claiming police violated her constitutional rights. The police deny any wrongdoing in a Skype interview.
The cops' show just happened to be here at the time of this investigation. We're not in the business of producing television. We're in the business of saving lives. And we believe we did that in this case. We believe that the merits of the case, the evidence collected, will stand. And we believe we have a solid case going forward.
And what about when Dahlia was arrested?
I didn't do anything. Tell me you didn't do anything.
Why didn't she just tell police her version of what happened?
I've asked her that question too. Oh, yeah, everybody. Hey, Sergeant. This was just a YouTube thing we were putting together. She was in a state of shock.
I couldn't react. I just completely froze. I wanted to get out of there and I felt just paralyzed.
What do you say to people who say you're just denying the undeniable? That this is an open and shut case?
That now with the attorneys that I have, so much is coming to light to where it would just be insane to not believe me.
So who to believe? Is Dahlia the soft-spoken, wholesome woman at our interview, or a cold-blooded killer?
Was the real you the person in those tapes or the person sitting here today?
The person sitting here. The tape was a show, it was a tape. That was the purpose of it.
You were acting in those tapes?
Yes.
But you're telling the truth now?
Yes.
Why should we believe you?
Because it's what happened. It's the truth.